Howdy, howdy, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Let's play some music. Let's go with Big Giant Circles is Octogeddon. Why not? Yeah, epic music. Wow. Okay, let's turn that down. Let's check that we have audio. Yes, I do believe we have audio. It is 7 of the clock, so today I was thinking, so we gotta actually get to work on Pandemic if we're gonna make any progress on this game. So we have some new things that we need to figure out. So I wrote down some ideas on how to actually do each of these things. So let's see. Okay. So to do the rummage, yeah. Okay, so for rummage, to perma remove cards, I think dialogue displays can do that, or potentially we can make a sort of hide and go seek sort of thing happen there. So I'm gonna mark this with a different color to mark the fact that I have ideas for how to do this. So we're gonna label here yellow equals have ideas. And then for look at, rearranging and putting back the top 6 infection cards, basically an alter the future. So the idea I had here was putting the cards in the person's inventory, and then that lets them rearrange the cards as they wish in their hotbar, and then they basically play them back to the discard pile. Okay. And then, yeah. So basically, I have ideas for how to do this, and in fact, we already have ways to implement that for here. So let's pop into the our code. And you can see where we have that. And Pandemic function. And here we have for the infection cards, we have pop discard, we have pop draw, we also have push discard and push draw. So shouldn't be too difficult there. So yeah, we already have all that kind of stuff implemented. So it's really, honestly, that's really nothing new. We already have the ability to push stuff to the discard and remove stuff from the discard as well. So in fact, we can mark this as we can de-glow that, because we have, not only do we have ideas, we have the ability to implement it. Okay, so in that case, we need to add this on the board of special cards. Okay, so where does this go? Player actions, that's for special cards. Okay, so special event cards. So we have that, and we also have the rummage. This is the primary ability of the contingency planner, is the ability to rummage. Actually, that's not the ability. So we also need the ability to rummage through the player discard in order to grab a card. And specifically grabbing a special event card. So I'm marking those in yellow, as in we have ideas for how to do them, but we need to actually program that being done. Okay, so from there, let's see. Okay, so this actually, we can mark this as, okay, so we need to mark that as glowing because this still needs to be implemented, but we know how to do it. Okay. Player moves as the other player. I think I'm gonna mark this actually as a done deal, because this I think can be done as just a advancement. So we have mechanisms to tell when someone slaps another player and have an effect happen to both players when that's done. So, and in fact, when we slap the player, we should maybe also yoink that player's cards so that way they can play the player cards as needed. Okay. From there, shuffle the discards back on top of the drop deck. We need to figure out how to do that. And this is also done. Oh, actually that's a yellow. As in, to be implemented. Okay. As for shuffling the discards back on top of the draw pile, that's gonna be a little bit weird. Because it's not the normal put back. Well, is it? Okay, let's think this through. This we can program right now. So this is in the infection cards. We already have the ability to shuffle the discards. So this is infection discards. So we already, so this already does yoink the card. Okay, so I think all that really needs to be done here. Okay, so let's also go into here and shuffle discards. Oh, yep. Okay, shuffle the infection discards. This is where we just create a new copy, put back a version that says put back on top. Oops. Okay. So here, instead of directly placing into the draw pile, what we're gonna do is we're going to execute as that player, run function pandemic the draw and discard. This is going to be the infection cards. Infection cards slash draw or slash push draw. And I think that's all that's needed. Because what push draw does is it scoots everything back and places in the infection draw deck right away, which then also removes the need to do that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's see if we can make this efficient. So we're gonna delete every instance of that. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Not worth it. And because from there, we're going to replace... oh, shoot. Okay, this is actually a problem. Not to worry, because we just need to go into shuffle discards and temporarily do some adjustments. Okay. So instead of this, we'll do this instead. Okay. So here, we don't need to do that. Instead, we say execute as at E, run the push draw function. Now this act right here can be rather laggy, and that's one thing I'm quite worried about. Yeah, that's something I'm really worried about, but I think it should be okay. Okay. Because we're running the push thing over and over and over, which is going to be pretty gnarly. So, but I think it'll be okay. All right. There we go. That should have generated our shuffle discards. Yep. Okay. So it tags a random discard as extract. It then run push draw, and then deletes the tag of extract card. Okay. And it just does this 96 times. Okay. And then we don't need to do any of this. Okay. So now we can delete that, move this over here. Oh, never mind. Okay. So this is what we call shuffle discards, put back on top. And there we go. That is this system now implemented. I don't see a reason to ever use this again. Well, if we do ever end up using that again, it might be helpful to have a thing here. So Boolean put back on top. And that way over here, we're going to say if put back on top So if we're not supposed to put back on top, we do that. Otherwise, we do this. Okay. And then here we're gonna put, we're gonna swap things out so that it's slightly more generalized. And there we go. And just say /push draw. Okay. And that should do it. Yeah. Okay. And now back up here, we create a new Boolean, put discard on top of draw. By default, that's going to be false because I don't foresee any other reason to do that. But we're going to have it there anyway, just as an option, in case we want to. In case we run into any other game where that's actually a thing. Okay. And with that, that is this checked off the list. That is done. Okay. Let's see. So, what else do we need to do? Let's see. So we have outbreaks. Okay. So researcher, we will make no attempt to stop players from pushing Q, just as a gentleman's rule. Let's see. Okay, so for dispatcher, we gotta figure out what to do with that. Okay. So we have this screen-looking text here. I think what we should do now is maybe do the displays. So we have, yeah. So I think displays should be our next task here. And to do that, I'm gonna need to kill off every city. Okay. How many entities are around? What does that C mean? I do not know. Okay. These are gonna need to turn into a separate settings book. So I think we can also implement that because there's a lot of settings that I want to implement for this game. So we might as well do that. Okay. So over here, we're going to display the number of outbreaks in the form of a kind of DEFCON thing. So let's see. Let's create a new folder for these purposes. Hey, CJ! Welcome! Long time no see! How are things? How are you doing? Also, I'm wearing mushrooms. Why? Because I thought it'd be cute. Okay. The displays. Yeah, we missed you this last couple weeks. You missed an awful lot of drama. Like an awful lot of drama. Which, probably a good thing, honestly. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna have display outbreaks.mc function. Here we're gonna have increment outbreaks.mc function. Okay. Hey, Mario Mushroom Ewings. Nice. To make way too long of a story short, I'm in a new dorm. Yay! Good for you! School begins Monday. Awesome! I'm so happy! So happy for you! Okay. So, I'm gonna pause this real quick because we need to come up with a sound. So, in Pandemic, when you have an outbreak, it's an indicator that you're stepping closer to death. So I think what I want to do is like a big boom, like you screwed up kind of boom. So what's the best kind of you screwed up kind of boom? I can always do cave sounds. Although I'm worried because cave sounds automatically play in every dimension anyway. So probably not a good thing. Let's see. Okay, so that's an ambient category. I'm thinking something like a withered death or something like that. Let's see. What does the wither spawn sound like? Ooh, okay. Let's see. What if we do it with the pitch? Ooh, okay. I'm not sure that's just... How about death? How about that? Is this enough of a... Do you think that's enough of a you screwed up kind of boom? Or maybe something like this. How about something like this? Nah, it's too short. Nope. I think what. Okay, I think this sound is a good indicator for. I think this will be good for when we have like. It's not the outbreaks. This is when you have the particular setting that makes it so you need more cards in order to. You need more cards in order to cure a disease, or something like that. I'm gonna write that as a note. Okay, so this sound for when you bump up the number of cards needed to cure a disease. Okay, and then we can do. Okay, so I like the idea of doing the withered death. That's too long. Okay, I'm thinking something like this. So the question is that enough of a you screwed up kind of boom? Let's see, what other big booming things do we have? I can do revoke. I can do like a Enderman. Happy guest. Oh. Oh, that is awful. That is awful. But it gets the point across. If you wanted to make it sound really pathetic, you could do that. And it's loud and screechy too. Wolf death. I don't think I've. Oh, that is so sad. Now I think doing that. Like I don't want to be too morbid or too like pathetic sounding. I think I like this. This sound for incrementing outbreaks. And then we also, I would also like a sound for when, yes, classic bomb drop. And then we also have a thing for when one of the settings is realistic politics, as I'm calling it, because essentially a disease, once it's cured, has a random chance to flip back to being just cured. Like it can go from eradicated to cured, and then it can go from cured to not cured. So like that's like the disease evolves or something like that. So so when we go from eradicated to just cured, so this is basically like to simulate like people rejecting the measles vaccine. And then this sound for when a disease goes from cured to normal, because going from cured to normal is basically like a evolving disease. So for an evolving disease, let's maybe do. Nope, that sounds like a door break. Okay, that works. Yeah. So I like this. It's maybe that sounds too much like an explosion. Okay. Do you like this for cured to normal or eradicated to cured? A shulker noise. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so this could be like going from cured to normal. So going eradicated to cured, yeah, I like the idea, because the whole point of that is like, that's like people start rejecting the vaccine, aka a gag noise. So something like, maybe, nah. Nope, that's just teleporting. Ooh, there's one. Let's turn it down. That's a possibility. Out. Okay, I kind of like just having a kind of noise. Okay. Oh, that sounds like vomiting. Oh no. Nope, we're not doing that. Nope. Okay. I think pitch 1.0. Okay, what do you think? This can be the noise for eradicated to cured. Okay, although I do like the fact that wither is consistently being used here. Okay. Okay. So that's incrementing outbreaks. This is for when you bump up the number of cards needed to cure a disease. This will be for when a disease goes from eradicated to cured. And this is when a disease goes from cured to normal. Okay. It's going to be a... Yeah, I think I want to keep consistency. So let's find a different shulker noise. Okay, so cured to normal. Let's see. Nope. Nope. Okay, so we need actual shulker. Nope. Let's do... I like this idea. Maybe do something like this. What does close sound like? Nope, that's too quiet. Okay. I like this. What do you think, CJ? So this can be going from cured to normal. What do you think? Yeah, I like the idea of shulker noises being for... Because these are different displays. You have... Well, okay. These are different displays. Okay. So, incrementing outbreaks. I like this. This is good. I like this. Okay. All the statuses of the diseases are going to go on this wall here, And that's what all of these noises are for. So there's one for when you bump up the number of cards needed to cure a disease. You have one for going eradicated to cured, and one for going from cured to normal. Actually, you know what? I think, hold up. So both the, let me look up at my notes real quick. Where do each of these sounds come in? Okay, so realistic politics is the downgrading diseases theme. It's the variance one that bumps up the number of cards needed to cure. So I think actually maybe doing a maybe a villager sound. Let's see. Do I have an angry particle? Ooh, there it is. There's an idea. So going from eradicated to cured, villager sound, and then going cured to normal can be ooh, a pillager. Yeah, like an angry audience. Ooh, that sounds good. That sounds like a, I'm not going to take the vaccine just because you told me to. I'm not going to mask up just because you told me to. Okay, so that would be good for cured to normal. And then eradicated to cured. This is, I think, villager death. That could be good for eradicated to cured, because presumably, like, when something goes from eradicated to cured, that means like the disease had already been eradicated. It's just coming back because people are refusing the vaccine, which indicates probably somebody died. So I think, yeah. A pillager's ignorance directly influencing the death of villagers. Bingo, exactly. Okay, perfect. So that means over here we have this sound for when the number of cards bumps up. We have eradicated to cured, and then cured to normal. Okay. Cool. What do you think? A pillager's ignorance and anger directly causing the death of villagers. What do you think? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So those are the sound effects that are going to be playing. It's going to be a very noisy game. But that's also because this is a collaborative game where there's a lot to keep track of at once. So having as many indicators of what the game is looking like right now is going to be critically important. Okay, so over here we have the infection rate. We should also maybe include number of infection cards left and number of player cards left. Okay, so this is going to be the settings wall and the master reset wall and also the instruction wall. So all the info needs to be over here. So over here we should have the number of cards in infection draw. And here we should have number of cards in player draw. Because there's there's some cases where like one of the ways to lose the game is if you run out of player cards to draw. So yeah, it's important to indicate like how many cards there's left to draw. It's something that originally I failed out with Scrabble, and which I hope to not repeat again. Okay, let's turn the music back on. Okay, and then over here we're gonna have a big board of the status of each disease, including the number of cards required for a cure and the number of current disease cubes that there are. Okay. So that's number of outbreaks. And all the screens are going to look like this. So they're gonna look like some kind of like FBI screens or something. Over here we're going to have the infection rate. Okay. Okay. So I think infection rate and outbreaks should be next to each other. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. So the infection rate and the number of outbreaks should be next to each other. Infection rate is only going to go up if you have epidemic cards. But outbreaks can go up at any point during the game. Meanwhile, yeah, okay. And maybe for a number of cards in the player draw, that's just not relevant if you're shuffling those cards. So that's fine. Okay, but it is important to know how many cards are in the infection draw, or left to draw in the infection cards before it reshuffles. Because also that tells you that if you're dealing with an epidemic, this also tells you how screwed you are. So that's good. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Get entity type equals text display. Okay. Okay, that's dumb. Text. Okay. Let's see if we can plan out a way to do the display of the status of each disease. So basically displaying this in a reasonable way. So I want a text display. Okay. So, what are the different diseases? We have yellow, blue, black, red, and pink. There's 5 diseases total, depending on your difficulty mode. So, we want the status of each disease. So, let's maybe do this in the different colors of the actual text. Hold up. Glow color override. Okay. Okay. 11546 Oh. Okay, that's not it. Okay, we can put that back in. So that's the glow color override. Text opacity. Defaults to -1. Yep. It's completely opaque. That's good. And then we want it to be not see-through. Okay. Okay. We want alignment center. Actually, no. Alignment left. Okay. Okay, we'll test this. So, for each disease, let's do yellow disease. we're gonna say yellow amount is going to be stored in ptemp. And then, okay, let's actually put in tab characters here. Okay, so we do /t there to make a tab character. That many cubes, then /t again, and then this is, and then this is where we say eradicated or cured or whatever. Okay. And this is also where we display, so we can have that be for eradicated. We need another line there. Okay. So we can have another one here for ptemp. We have pblue amount. That's number of cubes. Okay. I think maybe we don't need a space after the T. There we go. Okay. ptemp cubes, and then this is where we say, okay, so then at this point, this is where we have a thing where potentially we need a score that says blue cards needed. Ptemp cards needed to cure. Okay. Cool. Okay. And then let's see if we can color these in different ways. So this needs to be yellow. Oh. Okay, we gotta do that. Okay, so that needs to be yellow. This is yellow. This is yellow. This is yellow. Blue. Since our background's already going to be dark blue, this should be a brighter blue to contrast that. Okay. So we're just gonna do these two diseases for now, just to see if the concept works. Oh. And it stopped displaying. How wonderful. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So now, right up here at this command block right here. Oh, real quick. 0, 0, and that's facing out this way. Okay. So we need this to be facing out in the 90, 0 direction. Okay. Okay. So right here at this command block, okay. Let's see how this looks. Oh. Okay, so the /t's don't display. Okay. Do they display at all is the real question. No. Bummer. Okay. So looks like tab characters don't work. Dang it. Okay. Bummer. Okay. In that case, it's gonna get annoying. Also, why isn't the blue background showing up? Da-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Oh, you need to set it to glowing. Okay. Nope. That's not it. What else needs to be changed? We have the glow color override. UUID, don't want to be messing with that. Shadow strength? Ah, background. That's what needs to be done. Okay. And the background needs to be -167766961. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we need to stick that onto here. Background, that. There we go. Is that a bright enough blue? Okay. Let's see here. So let's do, so we need to replace our ////t with dashes. ////t. Replace all those. And then also replace all our /t's also with dashes. I think that's the only way we're going to actually make this somewhat reasonable. Okay. Oops. Okay. So that's our background. And then for the actual color here, it's currently set to aqua. Let's see if we can make a brighter blue. Let's try FFFF. Yeah, okay. So we're going to replace aqua with 00FFFF. Okay. Let's try this. Oh, that's much better. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's try to make sure that the okay, so maybe our first line should be just /n. That way it actually properly looks like a screen. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. MC Stacker has lag problems now? Really? Okay. /n. There we go. Okay. So now... Cool. So we know what we want this part of the display to look like. Okay. Let's see if we can widen the... let's see if we can make it so everything's on one line. So cards needed for cure is a really long word. What's line width? Defaults to 200. Ooh. Okay, so what if we make it 1,000? Okay. Maybe what should be done actually is this. Okay, so first of all, this needs to be tagged. Okay. Type equals text display. Nope, not tadpole. Text display. We're going to tag this as display underscore disease status. Okay. Okay, and I think I do want the okay, we want 00FFFF. Yep. This needs to be that same hex code. This needs to be that hex code. And this needs to be that hex code. Oh no. Okay. So now we have a /n. Then we have black disease. Uh-oh. Please. Okay, here we go. Black disease. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's just grab our command block and modify it directly. It's going to be less laggy. It's going to be less of a lag fest. Okay. So from here, we want the color to be black. Okay. And we do the same thing here. Okay. We have blue disease. Okay. And I think actually here... Okay. Okay, so here we go. We copy all the way down to here. In fact, I'm going to do this. Okay, there we go. So copy that. Go over here. We have the black disease. There's going to be color black. There's not going to be blue amount. It's going to be black amount. Here we need black cards needed. For number of cards needed for a cure. Yep. And then here we have red disease. Okay. So this can be colored red. We can test the red later. So this is red amount. Also color red. Red cards needed. Color red. Okay. Cool. That's for the red disease. And then for pink, let's also do a hex code for this guy. FF00FF. Yeah, that seems bright enough pink. Okay. So this is going to be hashtag FF00FF. needs to be pink amount. Pink cards needed. Okay, cool. Okay. And then we need to tag this guy, tag this display as display disease status. There we go. Oh, okay, that is incorrect. Okay. Black disease, this needs to be labeled colored black. This needs to be colored red. This needs to be FF00FF. There we go. And then also, the red is not really that bright of a red. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we can brighten up that red there. Here we go. Let's try this. Oh, and we also need to make sure we keep the tags. Okay. There we go. Okay, we need to adjust the line width. Okay. Okay. So go up to here and we adjust line width 1000. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Neat. Okay. Sweet. Okay, I like this. One problem, the black is disappearing behind the blue. So let's see what we can do about that. So I want black, but it can't be completely black. So maybe we need like a gray? How about 3D, 3D, 3D? Why not? Okay. That's the blue disease, that's the black disease. Here's the red disease. Here's the pink disease. Okay, so black, we're gonna do 3D, 3D, 3D. Why not? Okay. Boop. Okay. Cool. And line width 1000. Okay, let's try this. Nope, that's disappearing even worse. Do I maybe make it white? Like, I know that's like counterintuitive, but like, do we just make it white, maybe? See how that looks. Okay. Okay, so it displays okay. The only problem is that it's no longer intuitive that it's supposed to be the black disease. Now it's a white disease. I wonder if I can do something about that. So what if we make it a black text, but what does the shadow do? Opacity 0. What does this do? Let's see. Okay. What if we did this? Is that even noticeable? No. Okay. Let's see. Can we get a black text with a white background? Oh, with white boundary. I don't see a way to do that. Okay. Okay, in that case, CJ, what do you think? Do we mark the black disease just using white text, despite how counterintuitive that is? Because I really don't... The problem is, like, the black really disappears behind the blue screen. Ooh, hold up. Can I make it bold, maybe? Let's see if... Okay. Yeah, that's what I was just looking into. Unfortunately, no. There is no way to make a white or gray outline. Wait, hold up. Did I just discover a setting? Shadow color -1. What does that mean? Hold up. Did we just discover something? Shadow color -1. What does this do? Oh, that is really hard to read, unfortunately. Okay. Okay. That's promising, I think. Let's see, what does this do? Okay, so we want black disease. Yeah, okay. Let's try this. Maybe? Is this readable? As the question. Do I maybe make it just slightly off dark, off black? Like maybe something like this. Okay, let's try this. Ooh, how about this? A brighter gray, okay. Maybe 70. Okay. Let's see. Something like this. It's weird that it's like a shadow thing. Okay, what if we did something like this? Let's see. What if we did something like this? Nope. Okay, that's less suitable. Okay. Okay. So this is what we're going with? Okay. I really don't like the double effect. Make it more blue? Well, the problem is that the black doesn't stand out against a crash screen blue. So okay, here's an idea. I don't like the shadow effect. Like, okay, cool concept. I don't think it's gonna work. Okay. So let's go back to the dark gray idea. Okay, I think shadow color is not it. Let's try something like, what was it we did last? 3D. I think that was the last one that seemed kind of promising. No, that was a bad example. Xcode. 3D. How about 80. Let's try this. 80. Okay, I'm gonna delete that. Okay. Okay. What do you think? Is this readable? And is it clear that this is a black disease? Because that's the biggest problem with making the text just straight up white, is it makes it no longer clear that it's a black disease. You like it? Okay. That's what we're going with then. Okay. 80. There we go. Cards needed for cure. Okay. So yeah, okay. Okay, display disease status. Run execute at S. Run TP at S. Okay, positive X. So we need to scoot this back to the wall. There we go. Oh, we need to scoot it just a wee bit forward, just so we don't have this weird Z fighting. There we go. Okay, there we go. Let's maybe scoot it this way. Okay. And then... And let's maybe try to make it bigger. Okay. So we need the scale to be 2. Let's attempt 2. Whoa. That's a big screen. Okay, and if it's going to be that big of a screen, it needs to be centered. Or at least somewhat centered. There's going to be some... it's going to need to expand in this direction for the actual numbers that go there. Okay. There we go. Nice big screen. Okay. Cool. Unfortunately, that does mean that displaying the number of infection draw and player draw needs to go somewhere else. I think that can go over here, actually. Since all the game info is over here. Nah. Okay, let's keep it consistent. Let's put the player info over here. And let's put the game info over here. Okay. Cool. So this is where we keep the infection rate and number of outbreaks. Right next to this big old screen relaying all the disease status. And then we're going to have infection rate and number of outbreaks over here. We're going to have number of cards in the player draw and number of infection draw over here. And up here is going to be, in the middle is going to be the instructions for how to play. Okay. So, number of outbreaks. Okay. Real quick, something I want to make sure of. So, let's actually do some programming. And for this purpose, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. Is the album about to end? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the final song. Nope. Nope, we have one more song. Okay, bathroom break. Ah, you have stolen a chair. Like Kevin's apartment has a balcony, it needs something, I guess. Sure, it's an office chair, but we can use our imagination and say it's a granny rocking chair. Yup. Well, I mean, it does rock back, so in fact, yeah, no, it really rocks back. See? Granny rocking chair. Granny rocking office chair. Okay, so cool thing about the Octogeddon album here. So Octogeddon is an actual video game, and it was actually it was created by the people who left PopCap. Now, if you know anything about PopCap, they're now owned by EA. So I used to be really into Peggle and Plants vs. Zombies. I played them all the time. Those were the games I played all the time before Minecraft as a kid. So it's kind of cool. Like when PopCap was purchased by EA, a bunch of people got laid off, a bunch of people got fired, as it usually happens with corporate yada yada. And the people who were laid off and fired from PopCap formed their own indie company, and Octogeddon was one of their first. I don't think it's one of their first releases, but Octogeddon's was released in 2018. So that's what they did there, and yeah, it's so cool that Big Giant Circles got to make the music for this, and also mystery solved on where all the Plants vs. Zombies people went. It's pretty cool. Okay. What else? Let's do... How about Extreme Bike Trip? I'm a regular Sims player. Yep. EA is the worst. Okay. Let's pop that up there. Okay. So there we go. We got a big old display. Let's wire up this display and make it actually functional. And as part of this display, I think what I want to do is put in status blocks right here. So we have 5 different diseases. So we're gonna have we need 5 different colors. And I think the way that I'm going to mark the status is via wool, concrete, and terracotta. So essentially, terracotta is the normal. We're going to have the actual thing over here. Concrete is the cured, and wool, actually, now let's do glass. Yeah, stained glass. So stained glass is cured, concrete is normal, and wool is cured. Ooh, never got to play Plants vs. Zombies simply because I haven't heard of it. Oh, that's cool. It's like a cute kids coding lesson. Really? That's pretty awesome. Okay. So I'm gonna put a sign over here for the info, just for myself. This is not gonna be public to anyone else. So concrete equals normal, wool equals cured, so concrete equals normal, wool is cured, and then glass is eradicated. Cool. So that is how we're going to translate this information here. So we're going to yoink the information from here, and we're going to stick it onto the text display. And now that the text display is there, okay, so concrete is normal. So we have pink, we have red. Okay, so we have red concrete. We then have yellow, blue, and black. So we got pink, red, black, blue, and yellow. So I'm gonna need a little hole here so that way I can run back and forth and quickly see what the display is saying. Okay. Ooh, there was Plants vs. Zombies themed and Frozen themed. The lesson was held in a giant mansion which each had its own museum and industrial fish tank. Nice. The mansion was owned by the person who invented voicemail. Locked himself away, but kindly offered the space for us. He's since sold the house, but I'll never go through a gate to a mansion again. Huh. Neat. Wait, like you actually went to like an actual mansion? Oh, is this like an online mansion? Because that's really cool. It's really cool either way. Okay. So first off, we need to create scoreboards. P yellow amount dummy. We need to have blue amount. We need black amount. We need red amount and pink amount. And then we also need cards needed. So pink cards needed. There's a lot of scoreboards. Red cards needed. Black cards needed. Ooh. That is amazing. Okay. That is some crazy CJ lore. And I absolutely love it. That sounds amazing. Okay. Right. So let's see. Okay. So we need to do text. Okay, so when we display the text. Okay, so we're gonna write a function called display disease status.mc function. Okay. So it's going to be data merge entity at s. Okay, so we place that in as text right now. Oh, actually, we need to decide where to place the. We need to decide the block that's going to be the whether or not we have pink disease. Okay, so this wall is going to be dedicated to status indicators, or actually, no, this is going to be dedicated to the settings. So this amethyst block right here. Amethyst. Okay. Okay. And then here we're going to have, this is going to be amethyst, means 5th disease. And then glow, obviously. Okay. So this is the amethyst block that decides whether or not we have a 5th disease. Okay, so that means, so already we're gonna have Board Games Pandemic, if block that, no. Board Games Pandemic, if block, okay, so we need -256.5 is the coordinates here. If that is amethyst block, then we run this. Otherwise, we run everything except for the pink disease part. Okay, so we delete everything related to the pink disease. Okay. So now, that's gonna live update the stats. And actually, okay, so we're gonna need to do a thing here. Okay, so we're gonna do scoreboard players set p temp p yellow amount, set that to 0. We're going to set all of them to 0, in fact. Oop. Pink amount. We're then going to do, actually, no, we can do better. Execute store result score p temp p yellow amount if entity at e predicate equals pandemic in dimension type equals block display, and we detect directly if there just are that particular block display that we're interested in. So we want, so we chose concrete. Okay. Nope. Okay, so let's say we have black concrete. So yellow concrete for the yellow disease. Doop, boop, boop, boop. Okay. Blue amount, black amount, red amount, and pink amount. So we don't need to reset to 0. We can just immediately test how many do we have here. Okay, beautiful. From there, we display, so this is going to update the number of cards needed for the cure and the number of cubes that are currently on the board. So from there, let's see. How to do this? Okay. So we're gonna need one yellow cards needed. And then cards needed for the cure. Okay. Cool. So that's all the yellow. As the yellow, blue, black, and red. Okay. So from there, what we need to do, so we're going to start with the assumption that that none of the diseases have been cured. So at which point we're then going to start doing some tests. So in Board Games Pandemic, if block, so now we test for particular blocks. Okay, so we don't test for concrete. Let's first test for wool. So if this block here, 2160 minus 9, is a yellow wool. Okay. So this is for the cured. Okay, so yellow wool. We're then gonna do data modify entity at s. Okay, so real quick, let's see if we can get hyper-specific. Or specifically test how to get hyper-specific. So we want text. What does text 5 say? Okay, what does text say? Text.extra. Okay. What is text.extra 5? Okay. Yo, Fluffyneek! Welcome! Good to see ya! Okay, so that says yellow disease. That's the thing there. Okay, that's cubes. Okay. So we want yellow number 3. Stream's going well. We just had a insane lore dump from CJ Purple Princess. Turns out she went to a mansion owned by the guy who invented voicemail, where there was a coding challenge taking place in a room, one themed with Plants vs Zombies, another themed by Frozen, which is insane. The coding scares you. Well, that's too bad. Yeah, listen on some rock music, and then you won't notice how scary it is. Okay. Okay, cool. So we can get hyper-specific like this. So we can modify this. Can we get even more specific than that? Like, can I go into text? Yes! Okay. So we say dot text. Set value to cured. So we no longer need to display any information for number of cards needed to cure the disease. So that means that the next thing... Oh, but the next thing's actually a score. So we can't quite do that. We need to actually display this. Okay. So set value to this. What is going to say cured. The visual is overwhelming. Well, you know, like in the last stream we did the ultimate engagement. So yeah, I guess we're doing some more ultimate engagement. Okay. Cool. So we do that for yellow. And then if that's a blue wool, we're going to do the same for blue. We just got to hone in on which... Okay. So that does mean that we need to do this. We need to data modify at end tag equals display disease status. And we push this button. There we go. Okay, so there we go. So that's yellow. And number 4 says cards needed for cure. Beautiful. Ooh, Fluffyneek is currently participating as a psychological guinea pig. Ooh, what for? Go downstairs via slide. Yup. Yeah, that sounds You know what? That sounds like a worthy goal. You know, it's kind of like the for some reason that reminds me of the Spider-Man comic where like some kind of pterodactyl person is telling Spider-Man like, and now with my genetic engineering I can turn people into dinosaurs, and Spider-Man says, but why? If you have genetic engineering, you could cure cancer or something. And the person just goes, but I don't want to cure cancer, I want to turn people into dinosaurs. But for some reason that just, like, I don't know. My dream for if I ever come across a stupid amount of money is I want to build like some kind of like apartment complex place and purposefully just invite all the homeless people in town. Like, all of them come in that complex is free rent, free therapy, free drug therapy, free job counseling. In fact, if people want to, they can work as like within that apartment complex. I don't know, just that whole, and maybe have like part of that could be like a food bank, like food bank runs through there, and just have just be able to walk up to a random homeless person and go like, you get into my apartment complex. I don't know. I think that'd be really cool, and it's definitely possible if I come across a stupid amount of money. The problem is, because that's my thought for what I would do with a ridiculous amount of money, it's probably not going to happen. Because that's just how the world works. The worst people are the ones who get all the money. What else is new? So, yeah. That is my dream. If ever I come across like $1 billion or something like that, that's what I would do with it. This is a joke? Oh, no. This is very real. This is a very real dream of mine. If ever I come across $1 billion. Well, I guess more specifically, if I became Jeff Bezos, if I like founded some kind of like $1 billion company, so like I could consistently keep that up. Because nothing worse than having something humanitarian like that and then it just falling apart because the person ran out of money. So if I had like a consistent source of a ridiculous amount of money, like if I was some kind of CEO, that's what I would do. The kidnapping part. I don't know, just a concept. Okay. So number 15 and number 16 are the other cards here. Okay. And then the next one is red disease. Okay. That's red disease. 20, 21, 22. Okay, so 21 and 22 are the ones for red disease. I don't know. I can't tell if you're trying to make fun of me or if that's if you're genuinely concerned. Hello? Am I back? YouTube is trying to shut me down. They're trying to evade the truth. The truth that if you come across $1 billion, you can actually do something good with it. Kidnapping for the greater good. Oh, okay. Yes. There's a fun text game that I found a while ago, or that somebody sent me a while ago, called You Are Jeff Bezos. And the concept is like, you suddenly wake up in you suddenly wake up in Jeff Bezos' body, and your goal is to spend all of his money. So it's really cool. I like that. There we go. So this tells us when the disease is cured, and then we need a way to indicate that the disease has been eradicated. So this is eradicated. And if the disease is eradicated, then we don't need to show, we don't even need to show number of cubes. So that means, so statement for cubes and then one less than that. So we can just do that. And then we do 4, 2, 3. There we go. Phantom Toast, welcome. Oh, please, I don't want to be Jeff Bezos, please. Yeah, well, that's the whole point of the game is you become Jeff Bezos, and you have to figure out how to spend all of his money. Okay, there we go. This says eradicated. Oop. Okay, let me do 15, 14, 13. This says eradicated. I'm gonna go up to 22, 20, and 21. And then here, we go down to 25. There we go. Okay. And it says eradicated. Yay! Yeah! Yeah, it's been a long, busy day. Okay. So now, let's hit reload. See if we run into any errors. Oh, we ran into an error. Okay. So this is line 9. It's early on up here. Oh, is it because of this? Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. Cool. Okay, there we go. Let's try that again. Reload. Do I have any errors? It appears we do not. Okay, so now, I just scrolled through some of the chats on EA mention. Yep, someone who loves Spore and has recently played it for 3 days. Nice. Okay, cool. So now, in this command block, we're gonna write execute as @e tag equals display disease status run function pandemic display disease status. We're going to set this on a repeating command block, and let's see what this looks like. Okay, set p temp cards needed to 5. Okay, blue cards needed to 5. Yellow cards needed to 5. Red and pink. Okay, there we go. Spore. Okay. Let's see if this live updates as we want it to. So, show me a... Oh. Okay. Because it only is detecting yellow concrete. Let's fix that. Black concrete. Red concrete. And pink concrete. Okay. It should detect as a cube here. Oops. Wrong thing. There we go. Yo. Okay. So it can detect having a red concrete there. We can detect having red. We can detect red concrete. We can detect pink concrete over here. Excellent. Just for the sake of testing. Okay. Let's replace this guy with a sandstone. Yes! Okay. Sweet! Okay, so now. Okay, so let's place the amethyst back in. And now, let's work with this here. So let's say we have successfully cured the pink disease. So this gets replaced with wool. Oh, it says eradicated. Oh yeah, because wool is eradicated. Wait, what? Oh, leather. Okay, let's fix that. So this needs to be yellow stained glass. It is stained glass. Okay. Gotta replace all the wool here with stained glass. Okay, so that's already a good indication that the marking the fact that the disease is eradicated is working as it's supposed to. Okay, there we go. 3 cubes cured. Nice. You know what? Let's put an exclamation mark. Pandemic. Yeah. Ooh, that sounds fun. Got a Java programming class. That sounds really fun. Well, if you need any tutoring help, just hit me up. I will gladly tutor you. I do normally charge money for that. But if you don't have the money, pay me in food. Because I know that Phantom Toast and I are on the same campus. So, yeah. Okay. So wool means it's cured. And then let's say we have successfully eradicated the red disease. Eradicated. Yes! Okay. Sweet! Okay. So what if we... So let's try displaying the fact that we cured all the diseases. Let's see what that looks like. We have blue and yellow. Black is cured. Blue is cured. And yellow is cured. Okay, and the display shrinks. Beautiful. Okay. And then let's say we eradicated these diseases. Blue and yellow. Oh, and this also gives us a win condition. Eradicated. Nice. blue, and yellow. Yay! It works! Yeehaw! All right. Well, this is looking awesome. All right. Okay, let's put those concretes back in. We have yellow, blue, black, red, and pink. Black, blue, and yellow. Yay! Okay. Let's also do some testing here. So there are 48 cities. Woo! Yeah! Okay, so there are 48 total cities. The maximum number of cubes there can be on each are 3 of each color. So let's say in the worst possible scenario, there's 144 cubes. Now the question is, of a particular color. So the question is, can we properly detect that? So it looks like yellow is the longest. So we're actually going to make this a yellow concrete. And let's make sure that it all fits in. So now we're going to do execute as at e type equals block display. Now there's 3 cubes, 7. Quick little way to do some exponential. Okay, and at 255 cubes, it really starts getting laggy. Okay, so hopefully we never have that many cubes, because otherwise, not only is the game lagging, but you probably already lost. Okay, beautiful. Not only are you breaking the program, not only is Minecraft starting to buckle, but also you've probably already lost by that point if you're dealing with that many diseases. Okay, cool. Yay! All right. So there we go. This is a command block that goes right there. Our first and what's going to be a tower of command blocks for each of the display things. So this, okay. So this is displays. We're going to pop the sandstone back there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to write down all these different settings. So, actually, did I write this down already? Let me check. I should have. All the different settings that I wanted to implement in this game. Yeah, so we have hard mode, we have run out of epidemic cards, the win condition, realistic politics, and variance. Okay, cool. And I also wrote down all the different special event cards. Excellent. Okay, cool. Let's actually remove these. Okay, yay! All right. Okay, so we don't need to write that down on the phone. Okay. So things are looking very good. Yeah, I am happy. I'm happy with how things have turned out. This has been a very productive stream. I do believe we can actually check something off the checklist. Let's pull out our ink sacs. And that's over here. So we have display disease status. Bam. checked off. And then we've also decided on some noises to play. So I'm going to pause the music there, because we decided on some noises to play. So when an outbreak occurs, this is the sound that's going to display. Nice little boom of "you screwed up." And then there's different things that that will modify the number there. So if you have to bump up the number of cards needed to cure a disease, then this sound plays. So nice quick little noise there. And then these two sounds occur when you have the realistic politics setting turned on. You're going to love this, by the way. So the realistic politics setting has it where randomly a cured disease can turn to normal, and an eradicated disease can turn to cured. So basically, a disease can downgrade. And the sounds made for that, when you go, so going eradicated to cured, sounds like this. Let me turn off the sound for that. So eradicated to cured sounds like that. It's the villager death sound. And then cured to normal sounds like this. So yeah, it's basically, I like that because like the villager death is like, if a disease is no longer eradicated, that means probably somebody died from that. And then if the going from cured to normal is basically just people deciding not to take the vaccine. So hence the guy, because it's like, I'm not gonna take the vaccine just because you told me to. I'm not gonna mask out just because you told me to. So yeah, those are the sounds for each of the different actions, each of the different things that can happen. Let's see. Heartbreak emoji. Yep. Yeah, so I added realistic politics to Pandemic, as if it wasn't realistic enough already. As if it wasn't a difficult enough game as it is. Like, I can't overstate, Pandemic is a really hard game. And it is I love the game because it is everybody must collaborate or you die. So you cannot compete with each other or else you die, which I love that. I love the fact that there's no competition with this game. And yeah, it actively punishes players for trying to compete with each other. It's really cool. Sounds too realistic. Yeah, that is an appropriate emoji, Fluffy Neek. That smiling but crying. The hide the pain. Way too accurate. Okay. Okay, I think... Yeah. So I think that's enough for today, as far as progress goes. We have a whole board right here of the disease status for every single disease. So I think either off camera or next stream, I'm going to have something here for infection rate, and I'm going to have a thing that's like a DEFCON level for number of outbreaks. So, yeah. And then I'm going to have the function to increment the number of outbreaks, which will play the boom, you screwed up noise. And I also need to run the function to do the like downgrading the disease, and also yeah. So we need to do the thing to downgrade the disease, and we need to do the thing to curing and eradicating the disease, and we need to, yeah. So yeah. Okay. So one thing I think would be useful to place is a block right here, which is going to signal which disease needs to be updated. to be updated using concrete colors. So basically, I want to be able to say, like, if this block is yellow, then depending on the action that needs to be taken, update the yellow disease or update the blue disease, that sort of thing. So, yeah. And actually, you know what? I want to be able to do multiple at once. So maybe let's not do just one like this. Let's stack up like this. Excuse me. Okay. See if we can implement this. So this is update yellow, update the blue disease, update the black disease, update the red disease, and update the pink disease. There we go. And it's time to end the stream. So, hope y'all enjoyed. I will see y'all later. Oh, nope. We have one last hurrah. Almost ending the stream. Here we go. Nope. Okay, we still got the thing. This is a long song. By the way, you can listen to this song in Animation vs. Minecraft. This is where I yoinked the song from. Went off with a bang. I shall see y'all later. Bye!